Hello, everyone, and welcome to One Civil Law, where we learn through the misfortunes of others. As always, I hope you enjoyed this legal education content. And today's the day I earned that subscription. For today's story, we are dealing with how not to deal with having a child that might have meth in their system. So, you have just given birth, and you're concerned about the child you've given birth to having meth in their system. Now, one might note here that one way to avoid this problem completely would be by, not using meth during pregnancy. But, you're not all about that life. You would like to continue using meth throughout the pregnancy, even though that's probably a really, really bad idea. So the child has been born and they have meth in their body, and you're concerned because if the government did some sort of blood work on them, they might discover the meth, and that could lead to some potentially negative consequences for you. So, what do you do? Well, if you're these parents in Iowa, you solve this problem by drowning your own baby daughter in a bathtub. So, that brings us to the story of the Iowa parents who did exactly that, drowning their baby daughter in the bathtub moments after giving birth to prevent the police from finding meth in her system. This was apparently the solution we resolved upon. Let's drown our own child in the bathtub. That will help prevent the police from finding the meth. Okay, great. Let's carry on. Pictured are Taylor Blah and Brandon Tama. A 31-year-old man and 24-year-old woman from Iowa are behind these bars this week for drowning their baby in a bathtub just moments after the birth. According to the sworn affidavit of probable cause obtained by Law and Crime, Bala, on November the 22nd, went to Unity Point Trinity Regional Medical Center, where she met an employee at the Iowa Department of Human Services. Blaha allegedly said that she had given birth to a baby at her residence, and that had been buried in an undisclosed location. Well, that's not concerning at all. The hospital employee contacted law enforcement, and a detective with the sheriff's office responded. In an interview with the detective, Blaha reported to the detective that she found out she was pregnant with Tama's child in April 2022. The two already have a 2-year-old son together. She alleged that she gave birth to the baby girl in the bathroom of their apartment, located in the 900 block of Central Avenue of Fort Dodge, Iowa. She stated that Tama was in the bathroom of the apartment when she gave birth, but once the baby was born, he came into the bathroom and helped get her from where she was sitting on the toilet to a position inside the bathtub with the baby. She advises the two named the baby Kayleen Lee Blaha, and that she was born alive, crying, moving its arms and legs, and opening her eyes, allowing Blaha to see that Kayleen had brown eyes. Blaha allegedly said that she asked Thomas for methamphetamine to help assuage the pain from giving birth, and that he did that. They're smoking up in the bathtub with having just given birth. She told the intention she had no intentions of keeping the child and were planning to let Blaha's sister adopt the girl. She added that Tama severed the umbilical cord with a pair of scissors and cut the section of the cord to remember the baby. Blaha allegedly said that, however, she and Tama soon became nervous that their neighbors would hear Kayleen crying and alert law enforcement. They were scared that if law enforcement came to their home and found methamphetamine in the baby system, they would lose custody of the 2-year-old son. Blaha went on to explain that in order to stop the crying, the two placed Kayleen in the bathtub, which was about half full of water, and placed both their hands on the baby's chest, forcing her underwater, ultimately killing her. Wow. Blaha also explained that Tama demonstrated her how to do this. Blaha advised that once the baby was held underwater, Tama removed the baby from the bathtub and sat her outside the tub before ultimately placing her in a plastic storage container, presumably like an igloo or something, wrapping her in multiple layers of trash bags, and then placing her inside the black backpack that carried her out of the apartment. While Kayleen's body has never been recovered, investigators executed a search warrant on their apartment and recovered what appears to be a portion of the umbilical cord. Both parties are currently being held in detention. Tama's bond is set at $1.05 million, while Blaha's bond was set at $1 million. Okay, let's learn a little bit more about Parents of the Year over here. Thus, that brings us to the end of the story about Taylor Blaha and Brandon Tama, pictured here, who gave birth to their brand new child on a toilet in their home and then transferred into a bathtub and noticed that their new baby girl had brown eyes and was live and kicking. She asked for some meth to help deal with the pain. And they did it. And then they were concerned the neighbors might hear the crying and stuff and call for the police. And that if they found the smelling of the meth and meth in the system, they might take the 2-year-old away. So they decided to hold the baby underwater until it drowned, and then disposed of it, presumably in some sort of igloo or something. And they had already arranged for one of the couple's relatives to adopt the baby, but apparently they were much happier with the murder plan, with the pushing their brand new baby, crying into the world under the water of the bathtub until it drowned. So, that's all kinds of special there. And that brings us to the end of the story of this horror show of a case.